In 2009, Gilbert Arenas wasn't just a superstar. He was Agent Zero, flashy, fearless, and one of the league's most explosive scorers. But beneath the swagger was volatility. A moment of ego, pride, and recklessness would turn Arenas from fan favorite to cautionary tale. This is the story of the locker room gun incident that ended it all, and how it could have ended even worse. Gilbert Arenas wasn't supposed to make it. He was a second-round pick, passed over, doubted. But from the moment he stepped on the court, he played like the world owed him something. By the mid-2000s, Arenas had become a phenomenon, three-time All-Star, a 60-point game against Kobe, game winners with no hesitation. He joked, he danced, he trash-talked everyone. In D.C., he was larger than life. But behind the charisma was a man with something to prove, and sometimes something to lose. On the surface, it started with a card game. Boo-ray, high stakes, high tension, the kind of game where pride mattered more than money. Gilbert and teammate Javaris Crittenton were playing. Trash talk turned personal. A few $1,000s on the line. But the egos were priceless. Gilbert joked he wouldn't pay. Crittenton didn't laugh. Tensions simmered. Words were exchanged. What happened next didn't feel like the NBA. It felt like the streets. December 21st, 2009. Gilbert Arenas entered the locker room carrying a duffel bag. Inside, 4 guns. He laid them out in front of Crittenton's locker. And with a smirk, he said, "Pick one." It wasn't a joke anymore. Crittenton reportedly pulled his own weapon. 2 teammates, both armed, face to face in an NBA locker room. It could have turned deadly. One wrong word, one wrong twitch of a finger, and this wouldn't be a basketball story. It would have been a murder case. The confrontation was diffused before it spiraled further, but the damage was irreversible. Word got out, the media smelled blood, and the league had no choice but to act. Gilbert Arenas was suspended indefinitely, eventually the entire season. He lost his salary, his endorsements, his image. But what sealed his fate was what he did after the incident. Before a game, just days after the story broke, Arenas ran out during warm-ups and mimed shooting teammates with finger guns. It was the final straw. David Stern cracked down. Gilbert Arenas, once the face of a franchise, was now a league embarrassment. Crittenton was suspended too, but his path would spiral even further. Just 2 years later, he was charged with murder and eventually sentenced to 23 years in prison. 2 careers destroyed, 1 moment, 1 locker room. Gilbert Arenas returned to the NBA, but he was never the same. Brief stints in Orlando, Memphis. Then silence. He became a punchline. But beneath the headlines, Gilbert was still a reminder. No matter how talented you are, you're one decision away from losing everything. Now, Arenas hosts a podcast. He's trying to rewrite his narrative with humor, honesty, and reflection. But to many fans, his story will always come with an asterisk. Because Gilbert Arenas had the talent, he had the game. But in the end, he pulled the trigger on his own career. This is Court Chronicles. Subscribe for more NBA stories.